Alright, I'm gonna just let y'all know. First and foremost, God is not finished working on me yet. There is still a lot of screw around and find out in me. It's just dormant from the former crash out. But I'm gonna hit y'all with story time. But the question before story time is, what? We're gonna get honest, people. What is the pettiest thing you've done and would probably do again? Don't worry, I'll wait. Welcome, cousins, to another episode of A Legendary Mess. I am your hostess with the messiest, mostest, and most ridiculous one-liners. Hi, I'm Ray Martine. I hope your week has been good. I hope everything has been good. Us New Yorkers had an extreme heat wave, and I was miserable for 3 days with a hurt shoulder. I just want y'all to know, I did not go to jail and I didn't do anything petty, but boy was I borderline ready to. Because I'm learning that the older I get, and with weather, especially with my Meniere's ailment, I will be miserable. And it's not intentionally. It's just like it just happens. And a lot of times with the heat, it does trigger my Meniere's. But thank God I didn't have no episodes this week. I'm really, really grateful because a girl ain't got her meds. Don't worry, God's still working on me. Let me have it. But with that being said, y'all know the guidelines. Bring it in, children. First and foremost, this is a safe space. A Legendary Mess is a safe space for us to embrace our mess, to embrace ourselves, to be honest, get real with ourselves, and not hide the mess. Like, I know we're human. We're going to want to hide the flaws. We don't do that here. We're going to make sure the flaws is out and about and proud, and we're either in process of working on it or we're healing from it. Whatever, this is a safe space. We don't judge. Trust me, I surely don't. 2, we give others grace, just like God gave us grace. And if who we didn't not give grace, God gives us grace all the time, and we be falling short. So I feel like it is our due diligence to give others grace, because we really don't know, their conditions neither. Us giving somebody else grace might actually help them out tremendously. And sometimes people remember that. So yeah. And 3, comment, share, subscribe, so it reaches the right people. Basically, you know where to find me. I'm gonna start with the one I dislike the most. Facebook. You can find me as Rain M on there. IG, I am Ray Martine and A Legendary Mess. TikTok, Ray Martine. YouTube, hey, A Legendary Mess. And 4, y'all like my shirt? She cute? Yeah, because I am God's favorite. I'm going to rep that. I am his favorite. I'm not saying I'm the favorite, but I'm one of the favorites. Hence why he let me buy this shirt. You heard me? Okay. Anywho. So I have a lot of messy confessions, but I'm going to skip that this week just for the story time, because I have not given you guys a story time in a while. I think it's only fair. Me and my microphone stand are having a fight. I don't know what happened, but we're having a fight. Let me have it. Yeah, so let me explain something to you guys. With this safe space, I am just 100% honest. I don't care to cover up my flaws and scars and wounds and stuff. That's not. But I also will not speak from an open wound. I'll speak from a healed scar. Sarah Jake Roberts hit me with that when I was watching a convention, and she ate me up with that. But it makes a lot of sense, and I've learned to keep that here. So that's what we're doing. Basically, children, you have a story time, and I'm getting honest, like super honest, about the pettiest thing I've ever done, and would probably do if pushed. Again. Anywho's, we're going to get into it. So, I'm going to ask that question first. What's the pettiest thing y'all have ever done and would probably do again? And I can say with this story time, I'm petty. I know what I am. And the reason why I'm sharing some of my ugly is because yesterday and this morning, I was hanging out with some of my really good friends. There was a really messy situation, and my friend brought up that I don't have that same, I don't react the same anymore. But they also pointed out I'm no longer the petty queen, which I did. That wasn't a self-given title. That was a title given to me by many, because I'm going to be very honest. I'm not petty anymore. I don't do a lot of petty-like activities or anything like that. I don't even feed into it. But boy, oh boy, after after my friend said that, it made me sit down and think, like, was I really the petty queen? And yes, I was. I have stories that could probably write itself a novel, but I'll probably share maybe one or two. So, yeah, I'm honest enough to say I'm very petty. So this story happened, wow, almost 10, maybe almost 11 years ago. Yeah, about 10. Rosie would be about 10. So basically, at the time this happened, I was married, and we had just had our youngest child, Rosie. And she was still, and I mean very much still, brand spanking new. My co-parent and ex-spouse, yeah. Everybody who knows us and has been following the podcast, following this, y'all know I've said it. Eventually he'll be on here to say it. We shouldn't have been married. We're honest about that. We should have stayed friends. And it's a lesson learned. It's an experience that we've learned, and I'm okay with that. I'm not mad. I'm not bitter. I'm not anything. We really, like, when we sit down and think and look over it, we both agreed we wouldn't change anything. But we know wholeheartedly we shouldn't have been married at all. We shouldn't have even been dating. But it's okay. You live and you learn, and you get better, right? Basically, Rosie was brand spanking new. Rosie, so fun fact, Rosie is my ex-husband and I's anniversary child. She was born on our wedding anniversary. I'm still paying for that. And what I mean paying for that, even though my co-parent and I are divorced, that man made a bet. He made a couple of bets and hit real smooth. So I'm still paying for that through the child and through my funds. Basically, we're going to get into it. And I'm not going to say I'm proud of it. There's a lot of things I'm just kind of like, I was, sheesh. But this is one of those where I was, yeah, maybe two of them. So basically, Rosie was freshly born. I mean, freshly born. She wasn't even like 2 months yet. And I, after hearing that, last night, like, I'm not petty anymore. I'm no longer the petty queen, which I'm fine with. You know what I'm saying? Like, I really am fine with that. To sit down and think of how petty I was is bananas, because I know God be stressed out with me, because I stress myself out to the point I gotta take a nap, I gotta sit on a timeout, like, I'm honest. So Rosie was still very, very small. I'm not gonna say very small, but she was brand spanking new. And at the time, this was now, me and my co-partner, we were my co-parent, me and him were married. And I'm not even gonna tell y'all no lie. Sometimes I'm glad I can stop and take a time out now, but then I couldn't, because it was always just react, then take a time out. This is why God's still working on me. And he was going through it, working on me then. Basically, one day, so my co-parent, ex-husband, he basically would work at night, because he's a night owl. He doesn't, like, all the years that I've known him, and I'm gonna be honest, we grew up together. He's always been a night owl. Okay, he's always been a night owl. He does not care. He could live off of no sleep for a week. I can't. Like, there's something, I feel like he needs to get checked out, but that's not my. He's a grown man. He can do it himself. I'm not responsible for him anymore. I do try to tell him, like, you should go figure out your sleep pattern. Because it's been 10 years. Well, it's been longer than 10 years since he's actually, like, he just don't sleep. Like, I'm going to be honest, he doesn't sleep. That's a whole separate story time. I'm hoping he'll agree to sit himself down here and we talk about that on camera, but we'll see. Basically, he works at night, but this particular time he did a double. Where we live, there's the Staten Island ferry and the St. George ferry. He worked at both. So he worked on Manhattan and he worked on Staten Island side. And he was still, like, relatively new to, I don't want to say relatively new, but he wasn't where he is now. He was still at kind of like the beginning point with this job. One day he decided to take a double. And this is, again, reasons why we knew we shouldn't have been married. He left his second work phone. Yeah, you heard me. Second work phone. And I kept hearing vibrating, like, I was in my room, and Rosie, who was still brand spanking new, she was asleep, but I kept hearing, like, a phone vibrating, like, like that. And it was driving me nuts, because I was hearing it for a minute. And I'm like, what is that? So finally, in the corner of our bedroom, he had another book bag with this second work phone in it. First and foremost, as a girlfriend and as a wife, it's very unsettling to have to go through what I went through. So finding out that your spouse has a third, fourth, and fifth phone would do something to your noggin too. So I pick up this second work phone and I see messages. I'm the worst. I see messages and it's actively still going. So he was answering and replying. He was answering the female. So it's coming up in real time, right? And I'm looking and I'm like, he's supposed to be at work. I mean, I'm really like, I have my phone with me here. Don't judge me. All I see is the messages coming up, and I'm like, yo, what? Ain't he supposed to be at work? Let me tell y'all something. This man was truly at work, and he was messing with the coworker. Yeah, he was messing with the coworker, and that's how I technically found out, through the second work phone. not only did first and foremost, as a person who had just had a baby, your mind goes all over the place, and mine said, go to his job and make an example out of him. That's what I heard. I'm pretty sure that's not what I was supposed to do, but that's what I heard. And the petty in me said, he likes to play games. Let's show him what athletes do and how they play and beat the game. So as I'm seeing these messages, I'm not going to say fully what those messages were, but let's just say he was messing with the coworker at his job. And because I was his wife and fourth time over new mom, I already knew. I was like, dang, I'm about to it's bad enough I got, like baby blues. I didn't have postpartum. I had baby blues. Postpartum and baby blues, they are different, but they're not fun to deal with, period. I had baby blues with Rosie. Now, the 3 other ones, postpartum. And the worst that I had it with was probably Angeli, who, by the way, my baby girl graduated yesterday. Today is their last day, all of my children's last day of school. But yeah, Angeli graduated yesterday. We cried. We were so proud of her, my co-parent and I, obviously, because we still co-parent, and we co-parent very well, for the record. We actually co-parent way better now than if we were even like romantically tied. Thank God. And that took a lot of work too. But anywho, back to the story. When I saw that, and I was already struggling with baby blues, I was struggling with my body, I'm struggling with no sleep, I'm struggling holding, the weight of my family, because my mom had gotten really, really sick. So it was so much happening in such a very small time frame, right? And that pregnancy and birth was extremely traumatic for me. I'm not even going to tell y'all no lie. We will talk about that. I am going to obviously do like a series on my kids, like each one of them, because each one of them are different. They're all hooligans. They're all hoodlums, but I love them, and they are really my broke, money grabbing, driving, crumb snatching best friends. I don't know what life is without them, and I don't want to, and I'm happy about that. I don't regret my teen mom journey to the mom I am now. I don't. So basically, as I'm struggling with baby blues and everything else, and my mom had just gotten to the height of how sick she actually was. So not only was I back and forth to hospitals, I'm exhausted, I'm struggling with my body, I'm struggling with juggling 4 kids, I'm struggling with a marriage that is just all types of chaos. I'm struggling. That's it. I'm just struggling. And I see what I'm seeing, and he was replying. What pissed me off the most was he was like, oh, I miss you, babe. At this point, and this is real life, if God could reach out and answer y'all and say she really did say that, he would. I was like, this has got to be an episode of Punk that I never ever unlocked. And my brain said, go make an example of him. Y'all ever seen the Kermit meme? Where there's regular Kermit and the dark hooded Kermit? That was me battling myself. And let me just say, the dark half won. Dark half won. So me being me, I was like, I'm going to go see Shorty. I'm going to see the girl. I packed up Rosie, my newborn child, put her in her stroller, not in the carrier, because in my head I was like, if I gotta beat her up, not even beat her up, if I gotta beat him and her up, it is what it is. So I put Rosie in the stroller. I call for backup, and I tell backup, listen, if you get a text, you're gonna have to come take this kid. You're gonna have to come take Rosie. You're gonna have to go. and be with them kids, and I'm gonna need help because I'm going to jail, basically. So I pack up Rosie, pack up her diapers, all this good stuff, and I get on the boat because I knew he was not on the site closest to our house. I get on the boat and I get to Manhattan. I get to Manhattan. I get off the boat and I'm like, let me see if I see him. So me and the stroller, we're do. I turn the corner to go into the ferry waiting room on Manhattan side. And let me just say, when I turn the corner, because there's an exit, you have to get off the boat, you exit, and you can turn. There's like food spots, but you turn to go to the waiting room to either get on the boat, wait for the boat, whatever. I go into the waiting room where people are obviously waiting to dock, waiting to get on the boat, and I see him and her. And he and her face just the way that something in my brain said, let's play. It was Jigsaw, let's play. That's what I heard in my head. And I looked at Rosie, who was comfortably sleeping in her beautiful little outfit that I had put her in. I was like, oh, baby girl, you're not going to have a daddy. You're just going to have a single mother in jail. And I meant that. She didn't know nothing at the time. She probably wouldn't have known nothing. So he doesn't see me. Neither does she. So something said, Rain, go to Wendy's, buy food. Don't give it to him, though. But buy the food. Play it off. And I did. I got what I would eat. I mean, he would eat the same thing, but I got exactly what I would eat. I actually had gotten a pregnancy craving that I only eat once in a blue. And the only reason I eat it once in a blue is because of my gym. My gym turning and my eating habits have turned. So I go and I get a triple stack Baconator with some fries, extra bacon, a big soda. Now he's a Sprite and Mountain Dew drinker. I'm not. I'm drinking Pepsi. And that's exactly, I got a nice Coca-Cola. It might have been a Pepsi, but I'm pretty sure it was Coca-Cola. And I put the drink in the holder and I boop. These two still didn't see me. So I nonchalantly put the stroller. I turned the stroller, actually. I bought the stroller first and I was like, let me turn it. So I turned it and I proceeded to be the pettiest wife on the planet. I looked over and I was like, hey, how are you? Like, I bought you lunch. The look on his face, the look on her. First of all, the look on his face, priceless, because he every ounce of color flushed right out of him. Just, the girl on the other hand, let me tell y'all, she was a bold chicken. And yeah, she was a bull chicken. So she goes, well, who are you? I looked at my co-part, I looked at my co-parent and I was like, I did just that. It clicked in his head. He was like, oh, the demon's out. We gotta abort the mission fast, right? It clicked in his head. I was about to snap because I did that. and he, again, like I said, him and I have grown up together. So he knows a very good aspect of if I'm a trip or not by how I might respond by laughing, smiling, something very minimal that most people are not going to catch. It was that, and he was like, hey, babe, thank you for bringing me lunch. I said, yeah. So the girl found herself being extra bold. Well, I was having a conversation. I said, oh, that's cute. I'm the wife, right? So I know there's a lot of us who might pull the I'm the wife card, you know? I don't really like pulling that card, but I had to pull it that day because she was talking too much for me. And she's like, well, who is she? And we were having a conversation. This is what she's saying to my co-parent. We're having a conversation. And he looks at her with this face like, I don't think you understand. Like, this woman is off her rocker. She fights for the giggles, not for survival. She's gonna fight for the giggles, and she'll do it with this child. She does not care. And I really didn't. I'm not gonna sit and tell y'all I did. I didn't. I care more now because they're older and they're aware. But when they were younger, no. I mean, I'll be out. I'll be about 6, 7, 8. But I'll be out. But still, God is good. He made sure I didn't, go crazy. So I still see this girl finding herself bold. She was like, well, we're having a conversation, and who are you to? I said, I'm his wife. And she goes, oh, that's cute. I said, you know what else is cute? How you two have been texting all day, and I come here and you're keying in each other's face. And I pulled the phone. Now she's like, oh, now she wanted to make a scene. That right there set my little, the sirens off in my brain. And I was like, oh, okay, cool, give him the baby. That's what I thought of. And she gets, homegirl just started getting crazy. I don't even know why she was getting crazy. She's like, you was about to get dropped on your neck. Clean. With minimal effort. Literally. That's how mad I was. I was going to drop her on her neck with minimal effort, and she wasn't going to see it coming. So basically, she starts getting crazy. Like well, we were having a conversation, and that's the hearsay because you making that up. I said, how am I going to make it up? This is his phone. This is the secret phone that he's been talking to you on with a secret account on Facebook. You're a secret. And here's what I'm going to do. I'm going to bust your secrets. So now my co-parent I'm looking at the color drain from him. He does not know what to do because, and I'm going to state this, there has been twice in the past where he went to restrain me and he didn't know I was as strong as I was because I don't look that way apparently. And I tossed him like he was a doll. And from there on, he's always said he would never ever restrain me again because he knows he'll get it's bad. He knows he'll get tossed if I'm mad enough. Like if the senses in my brain go boop boop and they no longer work, he's not going to be able to he can't do anything. And this has been said and to be honest, it's really sad, but the only people who were capable of like getting me to not get that, like restraining me enough is basically my mom and my dad, and they weren't there. So don't know what to tell y'all. They weren't there. It was just string bean of a co-parent and shorty who was canoodling and cadoodling and keying in his face. So basically, as soon as she started getting crazy, I was like, yo, hold the baby. I pushed the stroller. I said, here, hold the baby. And I gave him a kiss on the side of his head. And I whispered to him, I said, I hope you know you're going to be a single father until I get out of jail. And right when I went to go lunge at her, I happened to have a dress that had like a hoodie on the back. That man was quick. He had to like snatch the hoodie. He snatches my hoodie and kind of reels me back in. And he's like, whatever you do, please don't cost me this job. I said, you worried about me costing you your job? Sir, you're about to not have a job because you're canoodling and fraternizing with your coworkers on the job. So let's pick our battle today and right now, either I beat her or you change your job site. So we're going to he changed his job site. Well, he did change his job site. He ended up back on our side, on the Staten Island side. And it still did not work out in his favor because he didn't learn anything, right? So fast forward a couple of weeks later, you would think he had learned something. Again, this man left the second work phone in the house, and I'm hearing, At this point, I'm like, I know I'm not tripping. It's that phone. I search. This man thought he was doing something hiding under the bed. It did not work in his favor. I get it from under the bed. I look. I said, I guess I'm going down the block now. That's literally what it was. At this point, I didn't even tell my mom, because one thing about me and my mom, if I tell my mom he's out here, telling you one thing and making me look stupid, my mom's name is Deborah. Deborah comes out and she's going to fight. She's not even gonna give you no leg room. She's not gonna give you no explanation. She's just gonna get to swinging. Like she's really a different breed. She don't even want the explanations after. At least I'm gonna want an explanation. She's gonna just beat the crap out of you, call it what it is, go about her business, and okay, life still goes on. You'll be all right. Now, when I say I didn't want to bring Rosie, because at this point in my head, I was like, now I'm going to beat the bricks off of you. I'm beating you and her. I bring Rosie downstairs. I'm like, Mom, I got to go run out. Is it okay if you just, hold Rosie or watch her for a little bit? My mom my mom is the type of grandparent, give me the babies. I want all of them. She could be dead tired and still be like, give me the babies. And they be taking after her. Like, my mom and my kids have such a great, they have a great rapport and they have a great relationship. So I love that. So she was hyped. Give me the baby. We have a ritual, which they did. They had a ritual. Mornings they would be watching, The Price is Right, and Maury or Jerry Springer. And then in the afternoon, they had movie time. All of my kids have done this. They get lunch, they eat movies. Like, this is my mom's doing. So she was like, give me the baby. I don't care. Go do what you got to do. Still never told her. So she snatches up Rosie. Like, she's like, go do something productive. Okay. Not healing from a human isn't productive, but okay. So she's, my mom is technically resting. She snatches up Rosie. Rosie's like, Grandma. Rosie's like, it's Grandma. I'm going to hang out with Grandma. Because even though she was still very much, I want to say about now 2.5 months at that point, she had this thing about my mom where her feet used to kick. It was so funny. Her feet used to kick. And whenever she would go in my mom's arms, her feet would just go crazy. So I always knew she was happy to see her. And I could see the feet. I was like, good, I'm out. I get there. I got there within about 10, probably less than 10 minutes, because that's how mad I was. And I had the phone in my back pocket. I walked down the ramp. They're right there. I don't know why they would be, and I don't know why they kept doing it at work, in public, like they boss don't see them. I don't know. Maybe they're slow. I don't know. I'm probably going to have to ask them that. Like, what was you thinking? Like, are you okay? Do you not value your life or your job? So I get there. And again, and it's the same girl and this person I have as a co-parent. And key. But what set me off this time was she was so in my head now, screw the sirens. In my head I heard finish them. So what did I go to do? I went to go finish them. Again, because they're too busy keying in each other's face, they did not see me coming. So now when I had approached him from behind, and when I say I approached him from behind, I grabbed. Like, I have this thing, my kids, a lot of people hate it. I hated it because my mom used to do it to me, and I used to see my mom do it to my dad. Like, he like, if he said something, because my mom was a menace to my dad. I don't know what was going on in that relationship. He probably should have left her. Oh, it's a cycle. Oh, God. Well, I'm not the menace, but my mom was truly a menace to my dad on occasions. Like, growing up, we would do, like, slumber parties, and my mom my mom being my mom, one time, on a couple occasions if my dad got out of pocket, she would take her middle finger and her thumb and get to the very space of your neck and pinch it. And it's so uncomfortable, but it's also very disarming, but it's so uncomfortable. Because she used to do it to me as a child, and I hated it then. And then I became the parent who did it to my kids if they was acting crazy in public. Like, I'm gonna tell you something. I had yet to do it on an actual grown person. And this is where I realized I was my mother and I might have been the menace. I don't think I was, but I probably was. I'm going to reevaluate that. Don't worry. So I approached him from behind and I did the movement. Right at the back of his neck. I mean, right at the back of his neck. Where it's so uncomfortable. He don't have no choice but to like try to squirm. So he doesn't, as soon as I did it, he's like, ah! That's all I hear is, ah! And I'm squeezing till I feel a pulse. That's how mad I was. I'm squeezing till I feel a pulse. And he's like, ah, ah. He turns around, he seizes me. The girl seizes me, and she's like, ah. I said, oh, I don't have a baby here. I'm going to beat the crap out of both of y'all. And I took my hand from off his neck, and as I'm getting ready to go after her, again, grace of God, God is good, his boss comes out. He comes out from one of the rooms that's in the waiting area of the terminal. He comes out and he goes, hey! And I'm not going to say the last name, but he goes, hey, Mrs. B. And he goes, and I'm like, hey. And he's looking at me. He's like, what's wrong? I said, you have a problem. You need to get the females off the site. He goes, what? Now, my co-parent's like, is she serious? I looked at him. I said, yeah, these two are canoodling and fraternizing. And she also has other men, other co-workers that she's fraternizing with too. Like, a couple of them were caught in the bathroom. Mind you, that part where I said she was fraternizing with others and caught in the bathroom, that was actually true. And this man was the one that told me it, my co-parent. He's like, yeah, like, this is when before it got to where it got to, he's over here, but who knows? Who knows? Because he be lying. Clearly. Sneaking, lying. All that good crap. That's why we not together now. Ew. I'm glad you're my co-parent, but you were not a very good husband, sir. I might not have been a perfect wife, but I was a very damn good one. Fumbling me. Audacity. Sorry. I had a PTSD moment. I'm sorry, y'all. But as his boss comes out and he's like, yo, what? I'm like, yeah. You don't see it? Go run your cameras back. So now they had to take us in the office, and he did run the cameras back. He ran it on both sites. And because of that, which he'll find out now if he watches this episode, his boss calls me and he goes, I really truly am apologizing. You don't deserve to be in that. He should be treating you like a queen because I see how he showed. Like, they're saying all these things. And I'm like, I don't really care. Yo, get the women off the work site, bro. Screw every last one of y'all. Get the women off the work site. And you know what happened? They cleared the females off the work site. Because of that, they had to launch an investigation about frat, and it was so much because I just was like, oh, you want to play? Cool. Everybody's job is at risk, and literally everybody's job was at risk, and I was just not having it. So that petty aspect of me didn't end there. No, it didn't end there. I let this man think for a few weeks. We were cool. I let him think it. I'm honest. I let him think we were cool for a few weeks. Until one day, it just happened. I'm a wife, I cook, and I have a very large family. It's, it's not, I shouldn't laugh, but I know I'm petty. We were making food. It was a barbecue. It was probably Labor Day, and I knew he had to do a double. I'm such a petty person. I knew he had to do a double. And it just didn't sit right with me that you were gonna go to work and potentially try to, in my head, this is what my head was thinking. I know they put the females off the job site, but just in case, I want to make sure you don't get the opportunity to do it again. So I used his second work phone and I texted her. Well, I didn't think we was cool for a few weeks. I didn't text her, but they were messaging on Messenger, Facebook Messenger. And I posted that to him. And she answered. She said, and I was like, and I wrote it just like him, because obviously I've been with this man for years. I know how he talks, and I know his mannerisms, I know how he types. So I posed as him. I had her go to the job site, and then I called it in. That she was stalking him at the job. Even though that's not what happened. But they sure as hell did another investigation, and guess who got fired? She did. And the eerie part is when I see her, because we only live down the block. Let me tell y'all something. I could be top elite petty. But she lives down the block from both he and I, because he lives down the block from me. So she would be in the middle, actually. She'll see. So I called it in, and I was like, she's at, I'm terrible. I called it in. I called his boss. I said, no offense, but did y'all know she's at that job site? And he was like, what? He said, no, we moved all the females. I said, are you sure about that? And he goes, yeah, they're not even supposed to be on the shift when the guy. I said, you might want to run that back, because it looks like she's on her way there. And his boss is like, well, how do you know? I said, he has 5 phones. I wish I was making it up. He really did have 5 phones. And he's like, what? I said, how many work phones are y'all supposed to have? And he was like, we only gave them 1. I said, oh, okay. Well, she's on her way there because of his 3rd work phone. And his boss is like, what? I was like, yeah, she should be there now. I saw it in the messages. And let me just say, she got fired. He was placed on a probation period along with a few other workers. And then there was me, who this fool came back home. This man came back home and he was heated. And he wasn't even at work a whole full shift. He's there like 2 hours, maybe 3. And he comes home and he's fuming. He's like, I'm under probation and this, that, and the third, because they think that she's a he didn't say that they think. He said, I think she's stalking me. She's talking about I was texting her and telling her to come pull up and all this other stuff. No, that was me who told her to do that, Bookie. That was me. So, yeah, he'll find out through this podcast. Because it just was too much for me. And I was like, how dare you? And after last night being told I'm not the petty queen anymore, and I really had to sit with that, because I was proud of myself. But at the same time, it made me really, really reflect. I was like, Lord, I was petty. Thank you for delivering me. But boy, was I a petty wench. I'm honest enough to say I was a petty wench, because I was a very petty wench. And neither of them know that I'm the reason that girl lost her job and can't work for that company ever again. I'm not smiling because I'm proud of it. I'm smiling because I cannot believe I was really that badly petty. I mean, I have worse stories. Like, I have an ex whose car I single-handedly, yeah, I was petty. As I'm thinking about it, as I was getting ready to say it, and I was like, wow, I was really petty. But I do have an ex who I would never put him on this podcast. Wait a minute, hold on. I have 2 exes that I would never put on this podcast, ever. I wouldn't even put their name up. But one ex, his dad actually still sees me and goes, "Are you still gonna pay for the damages to my car?" That's because I was dating his son, and that man decided to have his dad's car because he, learner's permit, he wanted to flex. But that was the problem. He wanted to flex and didn't know. You can't do that with me. I'm not a flex person. But he wanted to flex and it wasn't working the way that he thought, like the car was going to pull me, and it didn't. And he decided to go after a acquaintance of mine. Then again, that acquaintance was a squat. She was really she was really a wench, because she loved the idea of taking somebody's man, and that's why she was an acquaintance. But that ex, let's just say, you know how y'all see Beyonce with the bat? I originated that, but I was tearing that man's father's car up. Tore his dad's car was completely unrecognizable. I done popped the tires out of it. I took the hubcaps out of it. I snatched the brakes out of it. And to be honest, I snatched the brakes because I was like, you ain't driving this home unless you talk to Jesus on the way going. That man knew not to drive that car home. He actually he had to call other relatives to come get him, and they had to call for the car to be towed. And his dad was pissed because he was like, she tore my car up. And it was brand new. And in my head, I was like, well, nobody can drive it now. Cost too much for damages. And he was expecting me to pay it too. And I was like, I ain't paying that. Tell your son to pay it. I said, all them females he got, you better pick them. And it was crazy because I'm going to be honest. I was just mad, and I had said something like, you need to check the back of your car for all those open used condoms in that back seat. Mind you, I'm going to be 1,000% honest with y'all. I don't know if there's condoms in the back seat of that car. But apparently there was, because he dead when they had to, they had to still pay those damages. I wasn't paying it. And they went and they were looking, and there was... I was just talking to be talking. I didn't know there was actual used condoms in the backseat of that car by their son. I didn't know that. I was like, well, look at me dodging bullets. But, yeah, I was petty. And then I have another ex where me and my sister had to jump him. Shout out to Jamie because she did that. But yeah, that's another story time. And when I say we jumped him, I mean we had... That man said that after we jumped him in my house, he went and told people that it was it was 6 or 7 dudes that jumped him. No, it was 2 females in the house. He was talking crazy. I may or may not have set it up and decided to have my sister crack him over the head with my mom's cast iron skillet, and we jumped him in the house in broad daylight and then shipped him on his way. I don't think I would do that part again. Would I do would I call it in and cost somebody a job? I probably would. I'm not even going to tell y'all no lie. I probably would. Depending on the circumstances, yes, I probably would. But if it's for cheating wise, no, because at this point, not anymore. But if it's for something else, I might do it. But yeah, I'm understanding in reflection that I was an elite petty person. I'm not proud of it. I'm not, because I'm diabolical. I'm honest, I was diabolical. But I also wasn't willing to keep being disrespected like that. Even though I stayed in the marriage longer than I should have, we both did, but I had to get shorty fired. Because it was like, know your role, jabroni. Who's you talking to? And 2, God's not finished with me. You're going to screw around and find out. She did. That's why she ain't got no job. I mean, she got a job now. It's just not with that company. She could pay her bills. It's just... not where she worked at, where there was excellent pay. You now have decent pay. And the only reason I know she got decent pay was because my co-parent told me that he, afterwards, like, this was a few years ago. He was like, I ran into her and she actually got a decent job. It's not the same as when she worked over at the company, but it's a decent job. I was like, oh, okay. But yeah, I acknowledge that I can be very, very petty. I'm glad I'm not that way anymore. But looking back and realizing, like, I made sure, like, I got her and a few other people fired, even though that's not it really wasn't a good idea. It was a spectacular idea. But still, nonetheless, it was very petty. I could have handled it much better. I wasn't fully the problem, but I was part of the problem. The problem was them two. But I was part of it too, because I was going to get to a resolve, and my resolve was, you got to go. She did. She went. And, I'm glad I'm not petty like I used to be. I'm glad I don't really entertain it and I outgrew it. But boy, oh boy, looking back and realizing how petty I actually was is bananas, because I don't even, and even like to the point I had to look up like old Facebook posts, and when I saw like how and this is a fact, a lot of my siblings will call me last because they don't know what might come clean from me. Like, they don't know if I'm gonna be petty, they don't know if I'm gonna be vicious, they don't know nothing. They just know, if we call Rain and she get there, 9 times out of 10 it'll be handled, but she might get arrested. This is why I'm not petty no more, because I can't. I mean, don't get me wrong, I look great in orange, but I can't do jail. Can't do prison, I can't do jail. I don't do neither. So, I'm really not proud of that. That's really sad. Like, I cost that girl her job and a few others. I do feel bad about it. Like, now I feel bad. Back then I didn't. But now I do feel bad about it, because it's like, dang, she needed that job. But you also shouldn't have been flirting and fraternizing on the job with a married man. And you as a married man shouldn't have been entertaining. I should have made sure they took your job. Anywho, we're past that now. But to know how petty I actually was is really, really, like, part of it's comedical. Bleh. What? Am I okay? Like asleep. Part of it is comical. The other part of it is just like, wow, girl, you've come a long way. Because boy, oh boy, was you a hot mess. And I'm honest, I was a hot mess, because it was like, I was very more reactive than ever then. Like, now I'm noticing I'll sit and look at you. I don't care. I'll sit and look at you. You will be going crazy more because I'm too calm and just like, everything's okay now? Are you ready to go? We can go. Great. Because that's how I react to a lot of things. Now, if it don't make sense, if it really don't make dollars, then it's not making sense. And to me, guess what? I'm gonna be extra nonchalant. Like, you okay? Do you need like a cookie? You need a timeout? Like, that's exactly. And my daughter just told me I need to stop doing that, and she's probably right. But I be very nonchalant. I do. Now I just be so nonchalant and so non-reactive that if I don't process it before I react, I'll probably crash out. And I haven't crashed out in a while, says the dormant crash out person, because I don't crash out like I used to, unless it's about my kids or my mom or my sisters or my brothers. But my sisters, that's different, because I'd be crashing out. And the fact that my older sister used to have to call me to like fight the petty, and that's crazy. That even now thinking about that, that's crazy, because she used to have to call me. She'd be like, "There's this girl." Mind you, it's my older sister, the one who's 25 days apart from me. I'm learning that us, the women in the family, I don't know what's going on, but we be The women that get our exes be mad and want to fight. Leave us alone. We be chilling. We don't even want that man. Keep him. But she has an ex, and he was dating this girl because my older sister does have a daughter. She is now 22. I'm old. But her ex, who is also my niece's father, he's dating this girl, and my sister was not willing to I mean, she could have if she wanted to, but I understand she was trying to stay in her own good graces and still work through her own stuff because she had a lot going on. She called me. I don't know what the hell she was thinking. And yes, I said it that exact tone. I don't know what the hell she was thinking when she called me, but she she calls me. She sends me a screenshot of the post, and I started going in on this girl on Facebook. It's probably still up there if that girl didn't delete that profile. I gotta have another conversation with God, because I gotta repent again, because I really was bad, like really, really, really bad. And I do feel bad for a lot of my petty ways back then. God delivered me, though. I'm not petty anymore. I still have the pettiness in me, but I don't utilize it. So the question still stands: what is the pettiest thing you have ever done and would probably do again? And I'll be honest, I would do that again. I'd set it up and watch it all burn. Not gonna be playing with me in these streets. It's hot. We're in a heat wave. We live in New York. Rent is high. You're not fitting to play with me in these streets. And whoever does date me next, don't worry. You don't have nothing. Like, you ain't got nothing really to worry about. But don't play in my face. I don't need that to happen to you neither. I don't want to make a story or an example. I just don't. But what's the pettiest thing you've ever done? And you know what to do? Share it in the comments, or send it to me in messages, because I love that. Y'all know the rules before signing off. I gotta go backwards. Like, comment, share, subscribe. I am Rain Martine and a Legendary Mess on IG, a Legendary Mess on YouTube, Rain Martine on TikTok, Rain M on Facebook. Yup. Yuppity yup yup yup. Like, comment, share, subscribe. Find me. Hey. 2. Remember, we give others grace, because God cuts us and grants us grace every single day, every moment of the day. Who we do not give somebody else grace when we get grace, especially when we screw up, fall short. And 3, this is a safe space. Cousins, I can't stress this enough. I don't ever want somebody to feel like their mess is, too much for them to handle, because you're not. And that's why I created this, to create the safe space of everybody's mess, so we all can sit and understand, like, we're human, we're messy, we're not God. We haven't made it that far in life, but like that to get to be God. No, but we are humans. We're gonna fall short, and we are going to be a hot mess. And I know I'm a legendary, hot, steaming, flaming ball of a mess. I own that. I'm not about to tell y'all why I own it. So, with that being said, I love you. But God definitely loves you more. And always remember, I'm God's favorite. And I love you, cousins. I'll see you next week with possibly another story time. It might be petty, it might not. But signing off. Love you guys. And this has been, I am Rain Martine, and this has been a Legendary Mess. See you.